Family, what is up? It is your boy Providence back again with another video, and in today's video we're going to be using the Vaznev-9K. Why did they call it 9K? Because it's over 9,000. What? 9,000? Okay. I'm sorry, that was a little Dragon Ball Z reference for those of you who got it. But anyway, the Vaznev, I think it's one of the better SMGs in the game. Pro players are using the Vaznev. I think, with the Vaznev you get very good mobility, very good time to kill, ADS. For me, you guys know my opinion on movement in this game. I've already made a video on it. I don't think the movement's very good in this game, but there's always a bright spot when you use SMGs like the Vaznev, because it kind of feels a little bit like that Modern Warfare 2019. You kind of feel a lot more free when you're using it. So I enjoyed using this gun. I think it's one of the better SMGs in the game. And as always, the class setup will be at the end of the video. But for today's commentary, y'all, I wanted to share some thoughts I had on something that we all do, whether or not we want to or not. We all do it, and that is worry. It seems like before we were ever adults and had any real responsibilities in life, we were worried about something, man. You were on the playground worried about what your friends thought, worried about whether or not that girl you had a crush on liked you. And as we grew up, we only ever had more responsibilities, and with more responsibilities came more worries. How we gonna pay the bills? What we gonna have to eat? Where's the money gonna come from? I gotta pass this test. I'm worried about that. Where am I gonna go for school? What am I gonna do for my career? Am I gonna remain healthy? The list goes on and on and on of things that we have learned to worry about. And while many of us do worry about a very real and present danger, like maybe a sickness or a friend or family member that might have had some tragedy befall them, oftentimes I feel like we find ourselves worrying about hypotheticals, things that have not yet happened but we fear might happen. Rudyard Kipling once said this: "Of all the liars in the world, sometimes the worst are our own fears." What does that mean? I'll tell you what it means to me. It means to me that our fears are beliefs, and these beliefs are what we feel could happen in the present or could happen in the future. But with any belief, it can be either true or false. For example, if I believe that the sky is falling, or if I chose to believe that I could fly, and I did something that was true to that belief, like I jumped off a second-story house or something like that, and I tried to fly, and then I fell and I broke my leg or something like that. You could say that because I had a false belief that I could fly, I believed the lie essentially that I could fly. I went and did something that was not true to reality. And so what Rudyard Kipling is saying is that oftentimes our fears are liars. It's false belief that tell us a situation or potential situation that isn't true to reality, or is probably never going to be true to reality. But even though our fears are lies, we end up believing that it's true and living as if it's true. And we come to find out oftentimes that what we feared didn't actually happen at all. I mean, have you ever stopped to think about the things that you're afraid of, and have any of your fears ever actually came true? I would wager that most of the things that you chose to worry about probably didn't come true. And even if they did come true, it probably wasn't as bad as you thought, and it didn't take you out like you thought it was going to take you out. You found a way to power through it. And I'm not speaking as someone who's just theoretically just analyzing life. When I was younger, I suffered from anxiety attacks, and I used to really believe that the world at its core was random and chaotic. And it wasn't until I really came to believe that, God was in control of all things, that I really find peace. But when I was suffering through those anxiety attacks, I used to believe that particular circumstances were going to come true. And over again, they never came true. And at some point I had to come to the realization that my fears are lying to me. Why do I believe what I'm afraid of is going to actually happen when time and time again, it just didn't happen? And maybe some of you guys are like me. If you sat back and actually thought about the things that you're afraid of, the things that you worry about, maybe on a daily, weekly, maybe a yearly basis, some of the same fears you've had probably for a long time now, you ever stop to ask, man, why am I sitting here thinking about something that hasn't even really manifested itself? Why does it have such a hold on my mind, my emotions, of some potential fatalistic outcome that hasn't even taken place? I'm convinced that at least part of the reason why we fear is that we want to maintain absolute control over our lives, and we don't like the experience of randomness, we don't like surprises, and fear keeps us alert. Fear is a defense mechanism meant to keep us safe from unknown dangers, and when it's working correctly, it is a good thing. The problem is that it can turn very much into a straitjacket. When we choose to worry about the future, it turns us all into false prophets. We worry and anticipate negative outcomes that many times don't even happen, and we prophesy falsely about what is to come. But the what if is enough to keep us up at night. What I want to encourage everybody who's still listening to this video to do whenever you're battling worry, battling fear, is to simply challenge those thoughts, man. I used to, when I was suffering from anxiety attacks on a daily basis, I just let my thoughts run rampant about the things that I thought would happen in life that never actually happened. And I began to experience anxiety less and less and less, and it completely went away after I began to challenge those thoughts. When those thoughts came into my mind and told me that XYZ was going to happen, I challenged it. I didn't let those thoughts just sit there and linger and have control over my behavior. And so we have to become courageous people that don't let the thoughts have free reign in our mind. If it takes being intentional, then you might need to sit down and think about specific things you can say to yourself when those thoughts pop up, so that you can have specific responses to those lies until you drive them out of your brain. But the last thing I want to say is this: sometimes the fears do come true. Yes, it's sometimes really important to recognize that oftentimes what we're afraid of won't come true, and we can take comfort in that, but sometimes they do come true. But I really want everyone to be reminded that even if your fears come true, you can face those fears. You can face that reality. You know, oftentimes the biggest problem with the reality coming true isn't that we're afraid of the reality, is that we're afraid we won't overcome the reality. And we don't have to believe that whatever it is we fear, even if our fears are realized, we won't overcome. So that's all I have to say. Thank you guys for listening. If you made it this far in the video, you are a literal GOAT. Please, if you're new here, hit that like button for the video. Please subscribe, share the video. All these things tell the YouTube algorithm that I'm actually putting out some good content. I want to see a lot of good things happen to the channel this year. So again, thank you everyone for supporting me. This has been Providence, and I will see you guys in the next video.